The boundaries cover about 80% of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, with little pieces of upstate New York and a little bit of Massachusetts. So that's the general geography of it. 5 stakes, so it's definitely not very large. It's a little backwards, it being the birthplace of Joseph Smith and the center of the founding of our nation. Basically the East Coast. It happens that the New England region is the least religious part of the states, which is what they say, but I'll be honest, I don't feel like I really saw that a whole lot. It seemed to me that it would have been pretty similar to anywhere else. But that's what people say. There are a lot of small units. I served mainly in larger areas, mainly because that's where immigrant and refugee populations are put. So I don't know that I could give you a very fair review of the entire mission just for that purpose, but there are a lot of branches from what I hear, anywhere ranging from 30 people to maybe 60, and then there are regular sized wards as well. But it's definitely not like California, where there are a lot of well-established, wards. It's a lot smaller as far as that goes. The geography is a lot more spread out. It's a lot of there's a lot of boony places. Again, I served mainly in the bigger cities, but generally, you're going to spend some time in the woods. There is the birthplace memorial of Joseph Smith, and it's a pretty big one. The mission president at one point said that if you can get an investigator there, they're guaranteed to be baptized. So that was a pretty incredible promise. I believe that there are some other historical sites related to Brigham Young. Palmyra is not in our mission, but it's in the next mission over. There's an obelisk there with 1 foot for every year of the life of Joseph Smith, so it's 38.5 feet tall. That's huge, and it's a solid shaft. It's got some pretty interesting history behind it, but that's kind of the main point of the site. It's got the remains of where the house used to be, where Joseph Smith was born, and it has a visitor center where you can watch the restoration DVDs. It's very, very peaceful and very quiet. And yeah, it's got some nice grounds, and then it has a few other trails that lead to some other historical sites of the extended family and things like that. So, well, Vermont is obviously, all of New England is generally pretty well known for its maple syrup, but Vermont in particular seems to pride itself a lot on its maple syrup. And fun fact for the mission, the first counselor and the mission president has a world-renowned maple farm, that's what they call them, I think. Maple factory. And so that's pretty neat. He gave us free maple syrup a few times. And on the subject of transportation, New England has a pretty bad reputation for New England directions. Go past the boulder right there and turn at this place. So